Hey everyone, welcome to my show here on the topic of Logitech and my Logitech Unifying controller. I've had this for a little while and just want to double check we are live on YouTube as well as LinkedIn here. So give me a moment while I confirm audio's working okay. Look at that. I can see the closed captioning on LinkedIn, so we're live there. And let me head over to YouTube real quick. Make sure everything there got added successfully. Go to our channel, go to our live, and look at that, we're live there as well. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so first things first, this is my Logitech trackball. It's got a thumb capability and then buttons as well as a scroll wheel. So one thing that I really missed when I transitioned to a trackball, which avoids me having to move my mouse around on a mouse pad or a trackpad on a laptop or purchase a trackpad, is a trackball lets me set the device down, use my thumb and then my forefinger or four fingers to control the left click and the right click. However, scrolling web pages is something that I really missed. So as you can see with this one, I've got a scroll wheel right here in between that I can use to scroll web pages, which has been super, super handy. The thing that I ran into and I guess surprised me because I haven't used one of these unifying controllers before is that the Logitech unifying controller is something that you have to install. So the unifying controller dongle here, if I pull it out, is this a little device here that has a symbol on it to let me know that it can connect to, I believe, up to 6 peripherals from Logitech. And instead of having a little nano receiver for my mouse and a nano receiver for my headset and another nano receiver for my keyboard, this allows me to do all of those from one unified device. And also avoids, if you've lost that little nano receiver, which I've done before, or misplaced it, right over here on my desk, I have a nano receiver from a Microsoft mouse. However, I don't remember which Microsoft mouse this is from. So I'd have to plug it in, put batteries in all my Microsoft mice, and try to figure out which one of those mice this is paired to. So the unifying receiver is nice in that way as well. I don't have to worry about keeping track of these little nano receivers and hope that I haven't lost it in the time that I've used the devices. So let's go ahead and present my screen here and get started talking about this device. So the nice thing about the unifying receiver is that Logitech has software that works on Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows Vista, and Windows XP. So they don't mention Windows 11 here. They do mention Windows 10. I had just recently downgraded my Surface Studio to Windows 10 just based on some things that I wanted to use, like moving my taskbar on my Surface Studio to the far left as opposed to the bottom. The real estate on my Surface Studio is 28 inches on a touch panel that allows writing as well. But a lot of times having control over the two taskbars and just the software and some of the shortcut keys that I was used to, like in Paint. I miss the Alt F to get to my file menu and then S to hit for save in Microsoft Paint. And I end up in Microsoft Paint, I won't say all the time, but often enough that on Windows 11, it really, I just get that ding every time that I hit Alt F, and Paint doesn't respond to a file request. So just a couple little nuances meant that I downloaded to Windows 10 on this device. I've got plenty of devices running Windows 11, so I can also test this software there. But the nano receivers, at least from what I've seen from Logitech, always seem to be USB-A capable. I have not seen a USB-C nano receiver. Many of these Logitech devices, I don't believe this particular trackball option, have the ability to use Bluetooth as well as their nano receivers. So we talked about in a previous incarnation of this, the fact that I use the Logitech Spotlight as well. And the Logitech Spotlight is a mouse presentation replacement, and it has a nano receiver in the bottom of it. The nice thing is there's a little storage for that nano receiver on the bottom. And then there's also a short USB-C to USB-A cable, which charges the Logitech Spotlight. And then I also switched over to my Logitech Zone True Wireless earbuds, which are in my ears. And since I went with the Office Space theme, I decided to throw on a jacket and try to match the Bob's appearance this morning. We're using StreamYard today for our event. So I'm going to grab our StreamYard URL and toss that into LinkedIn primarily because it is Tech Thursday. And typically on Tech Thursday, I try to mention at least a couple things from a tech perspective that I have discovered, and figured the Logitech Unifying device would be a good place to start, since I have had this device but had not realized that I had to download software for it. I assumed it was like the other nano receivers, like my Spotlight, where I plug it in and it immediately gets picked up and realizes that there's a device on the other end. The Spotlight has its own software install, so I can install software for the Spotlight, but I don't have to install that software for it to be loaded as a device. So I'm going to go out to LinkedIn here. I'm going to mute the tab and go to my profile, go to our live event, go to our comments section. Mark Litwin, of course. Awesome. Michael, thank you. Yeah, great question. Michael asks, does it also connect with video peripherals? And the Logitech Unifying software, I believe, now has the ability to deal with video, audio, keyboard, mice, trackpad. I don't know if there's a limited list of devices that they will support here, but let's take a look real quick. So the Logitech Unifying software is the first piece of software that I would use. And under getting started, let's see your frequently asked questions. This is just about the Unifying device. They have the Unifying dongle, and then they also have a receiver, And then they also have Unifying software. What is Unifying? There we go. This might be a good web page. Excellent. The other reason for the downgrade was my Surface Studio runs at 3000 by 4000 resolution, or 4000 by 3000 resolution, and I was getting a lot of pixelation through StreamYard when sharing my screens. And so far, at least with sharing just this web page, I'm not getting that pixelation staying at the super high resolution. So here's our picture, and I'll toss this resource center link about Unifying out into the LinkedIn chat here. Yeah, Michael, I have not played around with the Mevo, but I have seen that as one of the LinkedIn Live hardware devices that is supported to go live on LinkedIn. And I have interest in looking at that and seeing what that might do. So the software allows you to do keyboards, mice, and then I had read somewhere, and they have a newer, I think besides Unifying, they have another device that allows you to play around with it. And I'm not sure if it's that new device or new standard that might have the ability to pair with audio devices. So for instance, my Logitech earbuds aren't paired through a receiver at all. They're true wireless. So they're Bluetooth and paired to my Surface Studio right now. So let's take a look at if we go to headsets and webcams. And if we look at headsets and look at something with a wireless receiver, see if that wireless receiver is supported as plus a USB receiver enhanced for connection reliability. Not sure if the receiver has, I don't see on this receiver for the Zone Vibe 125 anything that indicates that it might be able to be simplified for other types of devices. So the other thing that I saw, Logitech Nano receiver, was a different logo besides Unifying. And I want to say that was called, had like a yellow icon, I believe. Unifying Nano receiver versus Unifying receiver for connecting multiple devices. It does just say keyboards and mice here, but maybe this other device might be the thing that allowed multiple items. So let's see if we can find that here really quickly this morning. And thanks for the question. Appreciate you joining us. Yeah, the Mevo is the next thing I'm hoping they send Logitech luminaries is the Mevo, because the dedicated device sounds interesting, but I don't know if I have enough need for a device like that long term in my life. So would love to play around with it. So Unifying software, Logitech support. I know I was reading about something else that they had. This looks like the same link we looked at before, getting started. Unifying software, Logitech, new standard. See if we can find anything they're doing since then. want to say the other thing showed up when I was looking at some of their devices. So let's see if we can go to sales here and get any information on shop. Let's look for mice and keyboards and keyboards. Multi-device. This is probably a multi-device only. MX master keys. Let's see if this one has a I don't see any devices with the split device. There's the unifying receiver, multi-device, stand combo. Yeah, I'll do some searching for that and see if I can find this other standard that they had mentioned. And I don't know if it was an older standard. I had the impression it was newer than the unifying software, which has been around for quite a while. I had just never ended up purchasing any of that. So the video conferencing, to your point about the Mevo, if we look at video conferencing devices, I don't see it there. Let's do a Mevo Logitech LinkedIn Live search. So there's apps for it. And then it looks like the device itself. And let's take a look at what the software might do for us. Multicam app. So I guess the whole idea of this is that you could have multiple angles and a Wi-Fi network. So it looks like this might just be Wi-Fi and no. So it has NDI integration, which was another thing that I demoed with one of the LinkedIn Live offers when I did a LinkedIn Live partners, and I found a article, which I think is here. If we look at the partners page, let's see if I can find it here. Access criteria. There we go. That's the eligibility. Go live using broadcast tool. Certified partners, there we go. So Mevo was one of the certified partners. I believe vMix was the NDI partner that I used to test out NDI streaming. And the nice thing about their streaming capabilities was this free trial was 60 days, and it had both the vMix software for Windows, but then NDI desktop capture for either Mac or Windows. So I ended up setting up my PC as the device to mix, and then was able to send my signal from a Mac with my entire desktop to the Windows PC wirelessly through NDI, and then send that out to LinkedIn Live. And it looked like the vMix software allows you to send to multiple LinkedIn accounts. So if I wanted to go live on my profile and your profile, Michael, we could do that using vMix. and I believe that software deals with, figuring out how to duplicate that. At least StreamYard does not seem to like using two different profiles, whether they're two different LinkedIn personal profiles or company page and a profile. I haven't figured out a way around that, but StreamYard does allow me to go to multiple platforms. So I configured both my Tech Thursday page in YouTube as well as LinkedIn as the places that we are live this morning. Yeah, it's a great point. Less bandwidth intensive devices, or devices that might need like a dedicated channel. Like I know a lot of the headsets ship with like a nano receiver, and the nano receiver dedicates a channel wirelessly to that device. So the Zone True wireless earbuds that I'm wearing do not have a nano receiver, but they do with Logitech have a application that I can download for the Zone True wireless headsets, and that's called Logitune, I believe. So if I download this software app, this is how I control things like the equalizer and certain aspects of the devices. This also works for the Logitech and some of the webcams they have. So it's got all of your firmware updates and software settings all in one little piece of software. I've not checked out the Logitech either. That is another device. So I guess if I had to reach out to Logitech and suggest an order of things that I would love to check out as part of the Luminaries program, which was extended to Microsoft MVPs, most valuable professionals, I would probably list the Logitech or the Mevo as the next things that would be helpful for me to take a look at. So I'm going to go ahead and put my link here to our What is Unifying. And then I'm also going to turn on my Windows clipboard history because that is one of my favorite features in Windows. So we'll take a look at being able to get to my history there. I need to get my invite code again because I didn't have that, and we'll toss that into our LinkedIn. And if you haven't used StreamYard before, it's browser-based. It has worked for me pretty well on phones as well as PCs. On PCs or Macs, you do have the ability to do virtual background in settings. So you can set up a virtual background similar to other collaboration platforms or streaming platforms. StreamYard is really focused on streaming, not collaboration per se. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up here was the Microsoft eCompany store, because I was chatting with a friend who's coming to visit and suggested, hey, there might be something from the eCompany store that would be of interest, and let's see if we can get you in there. Let me stop sharing real quick. See if I can find my code to log into the store here. Okay, let's see here. I can find my eCompany store ID. Okay, there we go. Wrong window, of course. Okay, let's see if I can. There we go. Okay. So now we are logged into the Microsoft eCompany store. Close some of these tabs that I have open. That's my trick with LinkedIn as well for different profiles. So Matthew and I were talking about items that he might be interested in. The Surface team has a 10-year of Surface t-shirt. It looks like a beanie as well. And then there's a Microsoft Surface hat or cap. And then if I go to the merch section and I look for what's new, there's some joggers, some overcoats. These Henleys look like they might be yeah, I'm not sure if they're hooded or what. Let's see the side. Yeah, it looks like there's a hood on them too. So they've got those with Surface on them. Surface tees. There's an Xbox robe that's new. Like a winter coat, a sweater, windbreaker. Lots of different jackets. And one that was like, I want to say like $20 when I was out at the company store. Matthew, I just purchased. So it's an Azure, it's kind of like a fleece, just overcoat. So I will will find where I've tossed that and make sure we see if that's something you're interested in. It was just super reasonable out at the company store in person. So I went ahead and purchased it. But let me know if there's specifics. Let's see if we can find all merch here. There are categories, I believe. Here we go, apparel. So if I look at tops, I get a sense for all the, the Azure. Let's make sure this is done. Yeah, this is done a full. So there's an Xbox holiday sweater. There's a couple Microsoft Give. Give is in October at Microsoft. So there's a couple Give tees from 2022 that are out there. There's some tanks, some tie-dyed shirts, which look new. I don't think I've seen those before. 2021 was like a Give more prominently. Microsoft has a employee Nelson. They have a standards of business conduct course that went pretty viral internal. When I returned in 2019, I got to catch up on the standards of business conduct. It was like a Netflix show with cliffhangers every season and recaps of previous seasons that you missed and the ability to catch up or binge the employee standards of business conduct training, which was really neat. They have a Pride tee from last year. It's discounted. They've got some Microsoft, the Surface 10-year tees. They've got the binary code tee. It looks like an Empower t-shirt. So my trick for LinkedIn, which would work here as well, is you can open different pages by right-clicking and open in different tabs. So if I wanted to look at all of the things that seem to have compatibility with Azure specifically, as I scroll down to all the Xbox stuff, Microsoft 365, the Office, here we get into the Azure category. I can open some of those Azure shirts and take a look at what items they have. This one is on sale. Sometimes the sale means they have limited quantities and sizes too. So they have a 2X of this Azure event with purpose. And they've got the Windows 11 shirts. I've ordered both of these and they're pretty nice. So they've got Windows 11 shirts. They've got a couple of the Ninja Cat styles, and then they have Enterprise Resource Group t-shirts. So I have a couple of those, and I have a hat as well. So this is the kind of full list of t-shirts and different things that Microsoft has: Windows 11, Ninja Cats, a couple Azure designs, not a ton, but a few, like that Azure Everyday one and the Empower T. Empower T is in a 2X. The Azure Everyday goes up into larger sizes. What else? That's about it for Azure, but there's plenty of Microsoft or Microsoft 365. This old school binary T is pretty cool too. I like that one. So we could, if there's a couple of those you'd like me to order, let me know. And if there are other categories, I'm just gonna thumb through these here, see if we have any other categories that might be of interest. I have to go back to merch, it looks like. And then from there, looks like I have to go back. So hoods and jackets, bottoms, headwear and more. And the hoods and jackets, I believe they have the Carhartt still. There's some Give hoodies, Pride hoodie. There's a Columbia set of jackets, or these look like Snap. These might just be like 3/4 length. Yep, they've just got like Snap over the head types of jackets or sweatshirts. More sweatshirts for the ERGs. This Carhartt vest looks interesting. So I don't have a ton of vests, but I usually use vests to let me wear some of my Microsoft jackets when it's colder out and I need more insulation. So a vest might be an interesting way to reverse it, take some of my things that aren't Microsoft branded and kind of turn them into Microsoft branded items. So this one looks like they've got a sizing chart. Some of them have sizing charts, some of them don't. This zip is just a different color of a Carhartt than I have. Let's see if it's got a hood on it. But I guess this goes for anybody. If anybody's interested in some Microsoft merchandise, we are doing a alumni event for tech bags and swag. And although I've got plenty of Microsoft branded stuff and some old, kind of remember when, these items are things that I can order from the store. So if anybody's interested, this goes out to anyone. We're doing that on February 6th. So here's some Azure hoodies. Open those in different tabs. They've got the Windows 11 jackets. I have the darker Tin Tree jacket. That's been pretty nice. And then for hats, nice thing about hats is you don't really have to worry about sizes necessarily. I've got a few hats as well from Microsoft. Let's do this. It opens automatically, so we just have to go down to the category headwear. And we'll look at this as our third and final item here in the categories. So North Face hats, Surface cap. We don't need an infant beanie. Denim, hemp, Xbox. There's an Azure cap, Columbia beanie, Carhartt beanie, North Face. So brands I'm aware of. There's a 10-year Surface beanie. And then the BAM cap is what I have, the Blacks at Microsoft baseball cap. They have those for all the ERGs at Microsoft, the worldwide ones. And then that's about it from a standpoint of headwear that we have at Microsoft. So let me know if any of those are of interest. Let's see what else we have today. We go out to the LinkedIn page here again. Let's take a look at that last Azure hoodie. Looks like they've got a couple choices in sizes left. We go to linkedin.com/celebrations/ that takes you to a page on LinkedIn that gives you job changes, work anniversaries, as well as birthdays in your network. So I believe I got around to it last night to post the January 19th birthdays. I haven't had a chance to send the messages, but I can send quick little messages to folks that have recently had their birthdays. So there's an easy way to just send a happy birthday message to folks. And the nice thing about doing this is it's a little more personal than just tagging them in a post. And then next year, it reminds me the last time we chatted. So if the last thing that either of us said to each other being in our network together is happy birthday, that would be a reminder that you haven't had a conversation, but I can see the message sent from the 18th. And then I have an autoresponder as well set up on my LinkedIn. And that is a feature of LinkedIn Premium, being able to use that. So job changes. The nice thing here is I can take a look at people that are changing jobs. That might be people I know in my network, or if they're not people I know, I could get to know them, especially if they ended up at companies that I have interest in maybe working at someday. So I can see there's somebody in my network that started a new position as an interim operations associate, people analytics at LinkedIn. You can go to their post, so you can just give them a reaction. You can post about it, or you can send them a direct message. So some different ways that you can use that linkedin.com/celebrations page. And as I'm setting back up this Windows 10 device, my Surface Studio, I have the capability of taking a look at all the software that I had on it and thinking about how the software that I want to use in the future operates. So let's go to our Windows, share our settings screen here. And our settings screen shows my DOS keyboard. It is Tech Thursday after all. So my DOS keyboard, which needs a good cleaning, is here. Let's see if I can pick it up successfully. It is a wired keyboard, but you'll notice that it doesn't have any numbers on the keys. When I was learning Dvorak years ago, I used this keyboard because it avoided me cheating and looking at the keys. The keys don't tell you where the symbols are or the numbers. So that's attached here. I've got my Logitech Unifying receiver. I've got a optical mouse plugged in, a wired optical mouse. The keyboard has 2 USB ports on the side. And then at my device, I have a Jabra Evolve 2 65 plugged in. It looks like I have a Logitech, I'm assuming this is the unified controller, Surface adapter plugged in. I have the Surface, what is it? The Microsoft USB-C adapter plugged into this Surface Studio to give me more USB-C ports. And then that's also how I have my HDMI secondary screen plugged in. And I installed the touch driver for that. So I have two touch screens on my computer. I have the Surface Studio, which is in front of me. And then to the right side, I have a secondary touch screen installed on Windows. Because this was a new install, let's see if Whiteboard is on here. And it does look like I have Whiteboard installed. Let's go ahead and see if I can set this account up this morning. Double check I'm logged in as the account. I believe I am. I do have it. So let's go back to our credentials here. See if we can get all that stuff set up here. There we go. Okay, so we've got our credentials here. Get a text message to log into Whiteboard. There we go. And we have to change our account password here too. It looks like I've got recovery information to set up here too. Perfecto. Okay, so now I want to see if I can present same thing, my screen with the full resolution and see if I'm getting any pixelation on that. Yep, I'm definitely getting some pixelation on that screen still, but I believe it's because of my resolution. So let's take a look here at the resolution we just talked about. Go down here and let's see if we can drop the resolution a little bit. Something like this. And then see if that makes things any clearer. That looks a little better. So if we drop it a little further, there's a widescreen orientation. Go into a new whiteboard and we tell it to allow us to use our finger. That doesn't look too bad on our whiteboard. So we're sharing a vertical or a portrait mode monitor right now in StreamYard. And then I can also add to the stream a different type of screen share, and that can either be my entire screen or a portion, a window on my screen. So pretty neat features there in StreamYard that I'm getting familiar with. Let's see if PowerPoint is set up and running on my computer here. Looks like we can sign in. To PowerPoint. This should be the last thing we do today. Need one more text to confirm it's me using my account. So we can go back over to my texts. Get into this one. And same kind of thing. I want to see if I can share a PowerPoint here. And whether I get, yeah, it's looking a little pixelated here. There. If I just make the window a little smaller, it seems to correct some of the issue I had with the viewing. So it looks like maybe with StreamYard, I'm better off with windowed sharing than full screen sharing, which is great. So Mark Litwin, thanks for joining us. Mark says nano receivers are his favorite receivers. And Mark is always good for something humorous to say on LinkedIn. Thanks everyone for joining me this morning. This has been our Tech Thursday event, and Tech Thursdays are my opportunity to share something technical that I have learned or played around with. So for next Tech Thursday, we will have yet another option for what we talk about. So I can do Tech Thursday here with this design or this design using AI in PowerPoint and the design ideas panel. And I am a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional in Microsoft 365 apps and services. If I do things in PowerPoint, like create a poll for next week, next Tech Thursday, and I'll post this to LinkedIn. Would you like to learn about HoloLens? Would you like to hear about more live streaming options, vMix specifically? Or what else? USB 3 docks. Given that is my slide, I can go ahead and set up design ideas in Microsoft PowerPoint, and it gives me these really pretty ideas for making my slides more polished. And so instead of having to hire a designer, I have some of these at my disposal. And then once I have the shapes and the ideas, I could use this to replace my icons in my vertical list, go with something without icons, and have something much more visually appealing than just 3 bullet points for HoloLens, more live streaming options like vMix, or USB 3 docks for next week. And that, I think, my friends, will end our session for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Matthew, I will send you a link to where in our presentation my screens are, or my screen share showed the different devices or items that you can get from the merch store. And if there's anything you'd like me to order, just let me know. I'm also using a new beta capability in StreamYard, and that is local recording. So besides going live out to both my LinkedIn profile and my YouTube Tech Thursday profile, which I guess I should share here as well, put together a third slide with my LinkedIn profile, or sorry, my YouTube profile. So we'll go here and we'll do Tech Thursday, redirects to my YouTube page. And if we put on YouTube, and we do our design ideas, there we've got some text, and it just gives us some suggestions to make this a little more visually appealing. Then we can resize and even bring these to the front. Is it going to let me select this and bring it to front? There we go. You can't see the bring it to front because it's a submenu, it doesn't look like, but there it puts it on top of the graphics instead of under the graphics. One of my favorite features in PowerPoint is the selection pane. And besides the selection pane, you now have the ability to find the items that you're looking for. So if I'm trying to figure out where text box 3 is and how to put it behind or in front of certain things, I can hide and show items within PowerPoint so you can figure out the layers. There is a really cool visual for this on Mac computers that they have not added to PowerPoint on the Windows platform, and I'm still envious. That's why I have a few Macs. I won't say that's the only reason I purchased a Mac in the first place, but it certainly was instrumental in continuing to purchase Macs and keep those devices up to date over time. PowerPoint on the Mac has a couple features that I'm just in awe of. So thanks, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and quit our recording here and take us out with some background music again. Which I cannot hear. Let's see if that's coming through the stream. Which I cannot hear. Coming through the stream fine, so.